So I know it does not translate into camera right now, but my hair is purple. And this look, this ensemble is giving you Shayna from Gem and the Holograms. And it's amazing.
It's all coming back to you.
Hello, people of the interwebs. My name is KB. I am the Nostalgic Black Girl, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here is where I'll discuss anything and everything that I find nostalgic from my childhood and beyond that I deem is worthy of discussion. And in today's video, as the title entails, we will be discussing Black girl representation in animation, specifically its history and why it's culturally significant. So, considering that I am a cartoon-loving Black woman myself, and that this would premiere sometime during Black History Month, I thought it would only be appropriate that my very first video somehow incorporate Black history and Black issues into my niche of nostalgia, which is what brings us to the concept for this video today. But that's all I have for the pleasantries. Let's get on into the video. So for the sake of brevity and clarity, I have organized this compilation of representation into a chronological timeline reminiscent of a historical Hall of Fame as you see before you, where each animated queen pictured represents a different Hall of Famer that will be the culmination of representation for that time period or era, considering that I simply cannot name each and every one of them lest I be here for hours. So, our timeline begins in the 1940s when animation is still a relatively new concept to the world. And here's where we see the emergence of the mammy archetype on screen and in cartoon form. For those of you who don't know, the mammy is a caricature and a racist stereotype pertaining to Black women who worked for white families and nursed those families' children during slave days. The mammy also propagandized the misconception that Black women were content and actually enjoyed being slaves. So yeah. And the most notable example of this caricature is no other than Miss Aunt Jemima. But we are not talking about sis today. The one I actually want to give reference to for this archetype is one I experienced firsthand growing up. And that is no other than Miss Mammy Two Shoes from the OG Tom and Jerry cartoons. Anyone familiar with this classic knows that we typically do not see the faces of humans here. But what we do see of Miss Two Shoes is that she is an overweight, dark-skinned, Black woman, usually wearing nanny or maid-like attire, which are all the ingredients needed for this archetype. The way she is incorporated into the story is that Sis is usually shown doing housework, in which she sees a mouse. Sis then proceeds to call on our homeboy Thomas to come and catch it, which then prompts the plot to continue with the expected cat chase mouse antics. I honestly don't have much more to say about her, other than the fact that she was soon censored for being disrespectful and offensive, which, as she should, because why? I mean, with a name like Miss Mammy Two Shoes? Come on, that's just disrespectful. Moving on, we fast forward to the 1960s, an era known for the Beatles, mod clothing, and the rising popularity of comics. And here's where we're introduced to the beautiful, multi-talented, and long-lost sister of mine, sharing the same last name, Miss Valerie Brown. Miss Brown is a lead character in the Josie and the Pussycats comic and TV series, originally produced by Archie Comics. She is portrayed as an incredibly smart problem solver who has background knowledge in science and auto mechanics. She is an integral part of the fictional band Josie and the Pussycats, and is typically seen playing the tambourine. Specifically in the comics, she is known for being more tomboyish, quick-tempered, and unexpectedly strong. It's debatable on whether you consider Valerie to be per se good representation. However, I will say that she did stand out considering the time period and the fact that she is the first female lead to be ever included in an animated TV series. So congrats to that. However, what this did alongside the civil rights movement at the time is prompt the emergence of tokenism in animation. Basically, tokenism is when creators or showrunners decide to include one, typically just one, character of a given minority group into their project because they don't want to be canceled for lacking diversity. And as we move forward, you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. We then jump forward a couple of decades to the totally tubular 1980s. And here we are about to meet one of my absolute faves, as you can very well see. She is yet another multi-talented, truly outrageous musical vixen. And she is no other than Miss Shanna Elmsword from Gem and the Holograms. Shayna is portrayed as a determined and hardworking young woman, sporting bright purple hair, who is passionate about fashion design and music. Similarly to Valerie, she serves as an integral part of the fictional band from which she originates, of course, no other than Gem and the Holograms. She is originally known for playing the drums, but transitions to playing the bass guitar later in the series. Yo, so I know you can probably already tell, but Shayna is one of the first people on this list that I actually looked up to growing up. Like, I loved everything about sis. I loved her perseverance. I loved her purple hair. I shared her passion for fashion, and she just gave me overall good vibes. And you know, that's all fine and dandy until you grow up as an adult and you realize that she was actually a last-minute decision because the creators needed a token black girl, which is why her original dolls are white. And now we enter into one of the best decades of all time based on my complete and utter bias. It's no other than the 90s, from which I was born. And I know this next decision of Hall of Famer may be a bit debatable, but I gotta give it to my girl Susie Carmichael because yeah, before you say it, I know she is the token black girl of the toddlers. I know she is the token black girl of Rugrats. But even regardless of that, she is that toddler. She is that girl. She is literally the little baby girl that had all the other little babies jealous, especially Angelica, just because of her indisputable black excellence. Like seriously, Angelica would stay mad at Susie for the entirety of the show's run, just because sis was the living and breathing embodiment of black girl magic, and Angelica simply could not handle that, and that's on period. My girl Susie is portrayed as a super intelligent, kind-hearted, and compassionate little black girl who is exceptionally talented in a variety of ways. She is funny, she can speak French, she knows how to tap dance, and the list goes on and on. But most importantly, Susie is determined. She ultimately knows how to make it through any situation, even when this girl Angelica is consistently trying to thwart her successes. And it is for these reasons why she holds this exclusive spot on the timeline. Moving on, we are now coming into the home stretch of this video with our last Hall of Famer who defined a whole generation of little black girls at the turn of the millennia in the early 2000s. Now, I know my choice for this next spot holder will surely be a personal bias, and many may not agree with me, considering that I come from the generation of the early 2000s, and by that time, we had many means of representation. So it really more so comes down to who you personally believe repped the generation the best in terms of representation for little black girls. Therefore, just know that in me saying this, I am by no means disregarding, underappreciating, or overlooking number 5, Libby, Dejanay, Monique, Ashley, Valerie, Aisha, Tyranny, Trixie, Jody, Orange Blossom, Miranda, Bumblebee, and the list goes on and on of all the other black animated queens. I'm just saying that this next girl not only defined a whole generation, but provided a cultural reset in animation as a whole. And who might this lovely lady be, you may ask? Well, it's no other than the iconic, trailblazing, and game-changing Miss Penny Proud of the Proud family. And I know this is going to sound cliche, but Penny Proud and the Proud family did a lot for the culture, a lot for the Disney Channel, and a lot for animation as a whole. Did you know that the Proud family is one of the first animated series to feature a primarily black cast of characters as the primary protagonist? Not only that, but it's the first animated TV series on the Disney Channel ever. The Proud Family was a blackity-black show with a blackity-black lead and a blackity-black cast of characters. And the portrayal of Miss Penny Proud was everything. Do you hear me? Everything. It literally redefined the way we looked at black female representation in animation. Although it can be debated that this can be attributed to colorism, that is not this video. The fact of the matter is that Penny Proud is representation done right. She is phenotypically and indisputably black, and is a multi-talented young woman known for her intelligence, stellar grades, and masterful singing ability. She also shares a love for football, journalism, poetry, and social justice. But most importantly, the reason why Miss Penny Proud holds this elusive spot on the list is because she is the most well-known of the animated queens from this era. There ain't nobody and they mama who is familiar of Disney Channel and the early 2000s that doesn't know of Penny Proud and the Proud family at the very least. Therefore, she is the most popular black animated queen from the early 2000s that redefined what it meant to be a black woman. She, alongside all the other black animated queens that I mentioned, gave little girls like me who watched TV growing up representation, which left a lasting impact on generations. Which is the whole point of this video, that representation matters. Regardless of who you are, where you come from, what you look like, what your race or your gender is, everyone, children and adults alike, need to be able to see themselves in cartoons and all other forms of media, because it is the media that defines how we view ourselves and how we view the world. Therefore, it is imperative that the media we consume some way promotes the idea that it is okay to be who you are and look the way you do and act the way you do too. Because we should be able to feel validated and comfortable with the skin that we're in, because that will have a lasting impact on our lives. Susie Carmichael taught me that you will have haters, but you shouldn't let that stop you from being the kind-hearted and utterly amazing person that you are. Miss Shanna Elmsford showed me that in you striving to live your best life and be your most fabulous self, you will encounter some difficulty and problems, but that shouldn't prevent you from pressing forward to achieve your wildest of dreams. And Miss Mammy Two Shoes taught me that the farther you go back in history, the more racist it gets. But jokes aside, in conclusion, I just think it's imperative that we should be able to see ourselves represented in this big grand world. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I am KB, and this has been Nostalgic Black Girl.